Good morning, it is Jane, and today starts what I am calling WOTWIP and Coffee. So grab a cup of coffee. I've got my cup, and yes, I do drink out of this, and I make a cup of coffee, and I use a straw. Now you might ask, what WIP? Why it's WOTWIP? Work on that. Work in progress. So, I thought I would grab my work in progress and start working on it. This is the Sugar Blush shawl that I had started with the Barcelona, I believe blush is the colorway. I might be wrong, but it wouldn't be the first time. I noticed there were a lot of channels that have had podiversaries as of January the 1st, and I always find that amazing how many people start a channel January the 1st. That's a pretty cool day to start something new, you know? Of course, you know, there's that old myth, or what I always called superstitions, that whatever you do on the 1st, you'll be doing for the rest of the year. So I guess that's a good thing to do, right? But it got me to wondering what my first podcast was. So I went back and I looked at my oldest, and my first podcast was October the 3rd, 2017. The sound was bad, the lighting was bad, but the intent was okay. And I thought, man, I have been here on YouTube 6 years, going on 7. That's very strange to me, to think that I've stuck with something that long. The only other thing I've stuck with that long is crafting. So, I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, I just thought it was rather interesting. Thought I would tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life lately. As many of you know, I did move into my new home. Things are going well, although I don't have topsoil yet. So there's no plants around the house other than my friend and I did take the chisel and dig out a place for one of the plants to be buried that I had purchased. So I do have one plant planted. So yeah, that's kind of fun. I did finally get my car into the garage. Although the garage is still full of boxes, there are still things I'm going through, and as I'm going through them, I am also decluttering. Because there's just so much stuff that I don't know why I keep. And then the question came, why did you move it? Well, because I didn't know that I didn't want to keep it, that's why. But anyway, it's great fun, you know, that kind of thing. The kittens are doing fine, they're growing well, and they are just obnoxious as could be. I say that with a smile, because they do try me sometimes, you know. I did find out that the gal that rescued them actually fed the cats on the table because she had huskies. So that's why they continued to get up on the table. However, they do, when they see me with that table, they will look at me like, what are you going to do about it, Mom? What are you going to do? And so usually I'll clap my hands, and generally they'll get down. But if they don't, they do get the spray bottle. And like I said, I don't like the spray bottle. But Izzy, she's funny when she gets sprayed with the bottle, because she'll start running at me like she's going to attack me. And then I'll spray her again, and she stops, and she gives me this look. You can almost see fire shooting out of her little cat eyes. But it's kind of cute, you know. And she's gotten now to where when I pick up the water bottle, like I'm going to spray, she takes off. So she knows that she's not supposed to be on the table. She does get off the table, But she still every once in a while gets up on that table and just gives me the look of defiance that's hilarious. Now, I did one day when I was walking out of the office, there was a cat on the table, and I immediately said, "Izzy, get down from the table." And I happened to glance over, and it wasn't Izzy, it was Ronan. That is the first time I have ever seen Ronan on the table. So, I'm sure when I'm sleeping at night, they're walking all over that table, sitting on the table, but the thing is, I don't want to see them on the table when I'm up and about. And they've pretty much, stayed off the table. Ronan is finally starting to warm up. He will come and climb up into my lap. He's done that a couple of times. And he'll let me pet him and love on him for a little bit, and then he's ready to move on. He is still a little more feral than Izzy is, but he also loves being petted. And he's just like Izzy. The minute he gets petted, he just purrs and purrs and purrs. So, yeah, that's kind of fun to get to see that kind of thing. I am hoping that this year brings a whole lot of new opportunities for all of us, some good things. Last year wasn't too bad, but it was pretty stressful, in between everything. But I will tell you, I had watched Billy's video the other day, Billy and Nancy's, and I had noticed that they were talking about the trip to Sarasota, Florida. If you guys ever get a chance to go on one of these, or one of these trips that Billy has arranged, do so. I thoroughly enjoyed the cruise that I went on with the hookers. And, yeah, we had those signs out on the door. And there were a lot of looks and a lot of conversations had between people walking up and down the aisle, as well as our steward, who, when we told him what it was about, he said, that is a great play on words. But everybody laughed. But at first, some of the other people who were part of a family stayed far away and did very little talking until we talked to them and, made a point of letting them know that hookers on the high seas was actually play on words for those of us who are crocheters, and which was kind of funny because we did have a young lady that joined me and my sister one afternoon at one of the performances. I can't even remember what it was, but she sat with us and was just talking and telling us that she crocheted at home, but she didn't bring it with her, and she really wished she had. And so we had great conversation, met quite a few people. One of our favorite was when we were in line to get the ship's charms each night. And of course, the first night, they entice you by giving you a free bracelet and one free charm, and then you buy 2 other charms to go with that, which the charms were $5 each. Or you could wait till the very last night and buy it all at once, which we just had fun standing in line talking with different people. But my sister and I met a young lady that, and I say young lady, she was our age, but she worked in Georgia with the Border Patrol. She actually was a pastor for the Border Patrol, and she had told us that it had been a rough year for them with the new administration because of the attacks that they had, not only from the public but from the immigrants who were coming across as well, and of course the way that the Biden administration was treating them. So she said, if y'all are the praying type, would you please pray for our border patrol people, because they face a lot of hardship. And she pointed out, and I know this because I know people who are border patrol agents, who many times give out of their own pockets to people that they see coming across who have no shoes, the babies who have no diapers, you name it. They will take out of their own pocket to provide for those people. So, you know, let's be a little kinder towards the people that work in those kind of places. They are still doing their job. This is their job, to protect our nation from people who are coming in. So we need to keep that in mind, and not slander these people and be so obnoxious towards them. I'm going to put it that way. They are just doing their job. They're fulfilling that job and doing it to the best of their ability, which is what they are sworn to do. So we need to be a little kinder towards people, all people, including those who work for our government. You know, some of them are thrilled that they are in a Democratic administration. Others are not. Let's just remember, we're all people, and we all have one goal: to make it through life together. So let's be a little kinder. So yeah, I hope that those of you that saw the Tunisian Tuesday enjoyed that little bit, learning a little bit more about where Tunisia crochet came from, or didn't come from, to be more specific. But I hope that you checked out the other channels that are also doing this. Yesterday I found a channel where her patterns are primarily Tunisian crochet. And that will be in a future shout out. Not like right away, because I have shout outs that are already filmed throughout the month. So it most likely will be a February shout out. Yes, that many channels I have found. Not only that, but I have had a lot of email with recommendations for channels, and people who found that I do shout channels out, so they will send me an email asking me to shout their channel out, and I am more than happy to do that. We're all in this together. We all have something to bring to the table, and part of the reason that I do the shout outs is I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I do know there are some people that watch the shout outs simply because I do shout out so many different channels so that they can find one that they like to watch. Now, I did have an interesting, do have the channel where I do the daily Bible readings, and I did have an interesting interaction with someone who had asked me what the scriptures teach about women teaching. Now, I'm not real sure where he is coming from. However, I've gone over to listen to some of the things on his channel, and he has an interesting point of view. He talks about the Bible. Not so much, he doesn't really read from the Bible. And I will do a shout out for him for February as well. So, but I thought, I wonder if he's thinking that I'm teaching, because simply when I am reading that Bible, I am reading it out for those of you who want to listen to it, or want to be able to sit back, listen, relax, meditate, think about the words as they are being read to you. As well as I've had some people tell me that they are no longer able to visually read the Bible, so that they do enjoy listening to it being read by me. And what I found interesting is, and I do find this with a lot of men, that they believe that women are not allowed to teach in the church. Now, it is true that I believe it was Paul, maybe it was Peter, taught that women were not supposed to teach in the church. But that's not exactly what he meant in that context, because when you go back and you look at it, the context was they were not to be an authority in teaching over men. But then there's also Bible verses where men are to be quiet in the church and to discern what is being taught to them. And we do know that Priscilla walked alongside her husband Aquila and taught. She taught in the synagogues. She also taught the way, which was what Christianity was called before it became Christianity, once they had named Christians in Antioch. So there is a place for women to teach. And as we all know, women generally are the ones in the family who do the teaching of the family members. Children, raise them up, teach them. Because men are off taking care of the family, working to provide for their families in many of these cases. So there is a place for women to teach in the church. And I think that this gentleman has an understanding of the Bible that women are not supposed to teach. I believe that he may be thinking that by my reading the Bible out to people that I am teaching. However, Christ calls us all to be ambassadors of God and to teach the Word of God to others. So, if you're a woman, you're going to have to do that by teaching others. Either sharing your testimony or teaching them about the Word of God. I have had women in my church who have taught me how to pray. I have not been a person who has prayed out loud in most cases. They have taught me to be able to ask in prayer for things and to pray for people aloud. So they've also taught me a lot about my walk with Christ. So, that's a woman being a teacher. And the Bible does talk about the older women teaching the younger sisters. So yes, there is a place for women to teach in the church, regardless. But I thought it was rather interesting the way he had asked the question, so it just gave me some pause to think about those kind of things. And to do a little bit of research about what the Bible teaches about women teaching in the church. And of course, even I think in Titus, where Peter talks about women not teaching in the church, at the very end he admonishes them to accept the sister who is in their church teaching. So, what are you going to say? Anyway, like I was saying, I hope that you've been checking out Leanne's channel for the Tunisian Tuesday. She comes at it from a different point of view and from a different perspective. And so that's great that we all can share and learn from one another. And as you know, Tony Lipsky of TL Yarn and Crafts, most of her patterns are Tunisian crochet. So, I do consider a lot of these people the gurus or the top-notch people. But I just thought I would share my love of Tunisian. And like I said, I haven't done Tunisian. I think I did one project last year that I finished, a shawl that was Tunisian. And I have always enjoyed Tunisian crochet. And there was at one point where I had wanted to learn, and I've already done Tunisian lace, but I wanted to learn how to do Tunisian cables. Yes, you can do Tunisian cables. So I'm looking forward to delving a little bit more into that. And I think in that first video I had mentioned, I had said the woman's name was Annie Grabowski. It is not. It is Angela Grabowski, and she had written the first definitive book on Tunisian crochet called the Encyclopedia of Tunisian Crochet. You can get that book many times at thrift books. I will tell you it's not always very cheap, but it is a great resource to have if you are interested in Tunisian crochet. And there are tons of books nowadays about Tunisian crochet with patterns, instructions. I believe there are probably about, I think that I've seen about 7 books that call themselves encyclopedias of Tunisian crochet, teach you some of the different stitches of those. So if you're interested, that is a great way to learn about Tunisian crochet, as well as joining us on our journey as we delve deeper into Tunisian crochet this year. I do plan on doing also the more of the weight loss. I haven't determined what I'm going to call it because it's not actually hashtag 50 gone by 2024 because I've already reached that goal. But you know, I'm determining what I'm going to call that. One of the first videos was on Wednesday for healthy and wellness tips or something like that. I can't remember the exact title that I gave it. See, I'm forgetful too. So it was just a foray into getting us started on some healthy habits this year, and I hope you will join me for that series as well. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of fun with this, doing a little bit more, and as well as working on these whips. That is what the WOTWIP and Coffee is going to be about. It's going to be a chance for you to grab your whip and let's work on them together. Today's is videoed. They won't always be videotaped. Many times I will do them live. It's just today I have some things that I have to do, so that's why I'm choosing to just film it early in the morning. And I don't think you want to be here at 5:30 in the morning, so yeah, there's that. And I do know that each one of us is embarking on some new things each year, each of the channels, and that's going to be very exciting for all of us. I was watching Terry of Nana's Crochet Ideas, and she is doing a biblical crochet along that is year long using that peppermint, is it peppermint twist afghan from Yarnspirations? I think that's the name of the actual pattern. Using some of her different yarns. So I have decided I will join in on that, since I do enjoy reading the Bible, and I'm looking forward to that series and doing that along with her and Lottie. And I know Lottie, the other day I watched her and she has been sick. And Lottie, I hope you're feeling better soon, because it's no fun being sick, especially if you have to work on top of it. That's no fun at all. So yeah, there are a lot of things that I'm looking forward to doing this year, as well as getting started on my own channel. And I do enjoy Juan, even though I know Crystal has a big old crush on him. And Juan has a lot of information going on his channel, so I hope that you guys have been checking out Juan's channel. as well as many of the new channels that we see coming up each and every day. So, yeah, let's broaden our horizons, check out more people, and have fun while we're doing it, right? I do know Connie has some of Just Another Stitch, has some great plans that are coming up. And as you know, she had a 3-year podiversary the other day. So I hope that you will join her and go over. There are, I believe she said there are 28 prizes that you can gain through her podiversary. And of course she holds hers where you can enter for, I think, 2 weeks. You have to enter it on that video, whatever the phrase is that she has given. And she has given a different word for each one of the gifts. And I believe she is limited to where you can only use one word, you know, choose one prize instead of having a bunch of prizes, which I think is a good way to go for that. I have donated a drawstring bag, so you're able to win that drawstring bag. It is an orca bag, the whale bag, and it's one of my favorite bags because I think it's a beautiful print. I am working on more bags for the shop. I am planning on bringing in some different designs, as well as changing up some of the sizes, doing some different things. Looking to expand some of those things as I go. So yeah, I hope you'll join me with that. Hang on, I need to change the battery. Alright, battery is changed, everything's good. Like I was saying, there's a lot of things that each one of us, different channels, are doing. I noticed that Nancy is also talking about doing some tutorials, and one of her first tutorials I think she is planning is to do a raglan sweater, which I think is fantastic. Raglan sweaters are some of the easiest to do. They are my favorite, simply because they are easy. I had to discipline Izzy there for a moment. She's trying to mess with the camera tripod, so she's being a little obnoxious. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that when she does do that. I know she had done another tutorial before, so yeah, those are some great things to watch other people, see how that they do. You know, I'm not the best at tutorials, but I do enjoy doing it and giving you a little bit of information. But then again, I do know that each time that you practice and do it, you gain a little bit of knowledge in doing those tutorials. So I'm going to stop being such a chicken when it comes to doing tutorials and branch out a little bit with some of that this year as well. So yeah, I hope that, like I said, each channel has something to offer. It's a great thing to do. I was a little upset that Billy said she wasn't going to be doing the Boggy Creek anymore. I do enjoy seeing Billy and getting to hear her perspective of things that are going on in her life as well. But I can understand about wanting to slow down. She is coming up on 80 years. February the 13th, she'll be 80 years old. And I can understand wanting to slow down a little bit. That is something when my son had come up for Christmas. That is something my son and I had talked about. As much as I wanted this house, and as thrilled as I am in having it, it's huge. It's a lot of work to keep up with it, you know, to clean and all those kind of things. And I laughingly told him, I said, yeah, I was thinking about selling the house, moving into a trailer. So may still do it, who knows. But for now, I am enjoying the space, and even if it does come with a lot of extra work to keep it clean, and I'm like Billy. I am, like I said, I live here by myself. It's no big deal for me to leave something out on the counter, not worry about it later. So, yeah, that is something I need to get out of that habit, being alone. So, that is something I am working on personally with myself, is to put things back, put them away, instead of leaving them out on the counters, out on the table, letting it become a source of clutter. So, yeah. That's kind of fun in itself when you realize that, as someone told me, I'm in my dream home. Now my dream home has almost become to the point where I'm thinking, what was I thinking when I had built this home? So yeah, but anyway, I am enjoying it. And I am enjoying it, like I said, but it is kind of stressful at times. I laugh because when people post that meme on Facebook that shows the bathroom, a bedroom, and then the rest of the place is a yarn room. That's kind of what I have, but like I said, because of how big it is, it's a lot of work to maintain it. So, yeah. But anyway, I am enjoying it. I am enjoying the house, the view. I love seeing the deer. My son had laughed because he said, Mom, I think you have a raccoon. And he is a smoker. And when he'd come to visit, he had taken a bottle to put his cigarette butts out, and the bottle kept getting moved. And I said to him, I don't think it's a raccoon, honey. I think it is probably most likely the groundhog. There are groundhogs out there. I said not only that, but there are deer, and sometimes the deer are nosy and they'll look at things and pick them up and move them. But also there's a weasel back there. I've seen, well, I call it a weasel. I don't think it's a weasel. I think here in Pennsylvania they're called marshalls, but they look like a weasel. So I kind of laugh because I see it like a weasel and otter type animal. So I've seen it a couple of times out back. But for the longest time when I was here, there are motion sensor lights all around the house, so that basically the contractor put them in because I live alone. And I thought, well, I don't know why you put them in for that reason. But I do like it because when I do pull into the driveway, the light comes up, illuminates the driveway so that I can see what's in the driveway before I pull into the garage, that kind of thing. But in the back there was a light that kept coming. It would come on. The least little thing. A moth would fly in front of the sensor and the light would come on. And it was driving me nuts because I'd look back there and the light would be on and you couldn't see anything. So, we were laughing about it, and I said, I've been able to turn off all the other lights when I want to turn them off. Because when I'm in the home, most of the time, I don't want all the lights going off because the deer constantly are going back and forth, and that uses a lot of energy. So, we were laughing about the fact that I couldn't figure out where to turn off that backlight. Well, on either side of the fireplace in the back, there are what looks like light switches. On one side, it is actually the switch that you can turn on and off the fireplace. In other words, you have to have the switch at a certain point in order to turn the fireplace on. Otherwise, it's always off. And the other light, I just assumed did the same thing. No, it controls that light out there that's in the back, which my son found out by testing him. So we had a good laugh about that. He's like, good grief, Mother, you didn't even know what all your light switches do. I said, nope. And then we had a good laugh about the thing with the light switches that are actually in the house. I have these beautiful lights over the island, and those lights over my dining room table, there's a light switch over there. You would think that it would turn on the light over the dining room table. It does not. It turns on the lights over my island. In the back room, that big room back there, the sunroom, craft room, one of the lights turns on that light as well. So there are like 4 light switches that actually turn on the lights over the island. And, you know, I'm like, I don't know why you did that. And I'm not, and when I talked to the electrician, he had pointed out, he said that's the way he wanted them to be done. And I said, you know, that's asinine. He's like, yeah, I know. He said, I can switch those out for you. Of course you can. At a pretty penny. But, yeah. So it's rather interesting to see the way that those light switches all control that one light over the island. And yeah, they are beautiful lights. They're like bubble lights with cracked glass in them. And I fell in love with those when I was walking through Home Depot and we were looking at different light fixtures. Which I got to tell you, shopping for light fixtures is something that's very interesting because they are just absolutely fugly. Absolutely ugly. But I found those and fell in love with them, so I knew I wanted them over the kitchen island. Did I want to use them when I'm cooking or anything else? No. But I do like turning them on every once in a while because they're just gorgeous. So, yeah. You know, sometimes you do things because you like them. But, yeah. And I had teased my son because, you know, there are two and a half baths in this house. And one of them is a bathroom that's across from the laundry room. And I kept telling the contractor, I don't want another bathroom. I really don't want to have to be cleaning 3 toilets, you know, because even if you don't use it, you still have to clean it. Because the way the water works, and you get these ugly stains in them if you don't. And I had laughed. I said, since they had taken my utility closet to put the heating unit in it, I had told him, I said, why don't we just make that back bathroom a utility room? And he's like, well, I've already ordered the toilet for it and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't care. It's still going to be a utility room. So that's where I hide a lot of things, like, you know, my mop, bucket, those kind of things. So, yeah. And I don't know if you know, the other day, I purchased one of those iRobots, you know, to vacuum, which I really wish I hadn't have, because they really don't do a very good job. But the other day, Izzy was over there playing. She accidentally switched it on, and these cats were freaking out big time. Now, I was too busy laughing. I almost peed my pants. I was laughing so hard because of their reaction to it. So, and I don't use it that often. I use it occasionally because these cats, they are messy. I love my little as Connie calls them, meows. I do love them, but man, there are times they irritate me. They have a bad habit of playing, and they will knock those bowls over. And there's food all over the place. Now, the other day I'd gotten up and they had knocked both bowls and there was food all over. And they're looking at me like, aren't you going to fill our bowls? And I'm like, no, eat it off the floor. And they kind of gave me this look, and finally they determined that I was not going to fill those bowls. Well, I wasn't until I got the broom out to sweep up the mess they had made. So, and what I find interesting is it's hard to find weighted bowls. I thought these bowls were pretty heavy, but they're obviously not very heavy. So I've got to go on to Amazon and look for some weighted bowls so that the cats aren't constantly knocking them over. Now granted, they knock them over when they're playing, and it is fun to watch them play because they do get after it, and the way they jump and leap and, you know, try to sneak up on each other is kind of funny to watch. So yeah, I do enjoy it. But yeah, those food bowls, it's interesting when they get to them. And as you know, Izzy still, she doesn't do it every time, but she still occasionally will scratch at it like she's burying it. And sadly, that is because as a kitten, she lived in a feral community and she had to fight for her food, you know, and they were always hungry, so they would hide their food. You know, if they did get food, they would hide it so that the other cats couldn't get it. But she's beginning to where she's not so much doing that anymore, but she still does it occasionally. And you know, those are some things that as a cat parent, you just kind of have to give them a little love and let them go on their way. But yeah, but I do have, like I said, I have, when we had our cat previously, the cat that Thomas and I had to put down when she got so old, we had used Tidy Cat litter. So I kept a lot of those containers, washed them out, and used them for fabric or to hold different things, you know, or yarn even. So I had taken a couple of those, cleaned those out, because I do get a 25-pound bag, no, it's a 40-pound bag of cat food, and then I put it into 2 of those Tidy Cat containers. So when I go to open it up to feed the cats, Izzy loves to sit on one of them and take a few bites out of the container. And she likes to look at it to see the food. So that is one thing that Izzy still does as well. And, you know, I can understand why she does it. I'm okay with it. But the first time she did it, I was like, what is she doing? Because she hadn't done it for, you know, the whole time that she was here. I think she was here about a week and a half before I ever saw her do it. Now, she may have been doing it when I wasn't watching. So, you know, you never know. But, yeah. I think I have chatted your ears off about a whole lot of nothing. So, I am going to let you go, and I will see you again next week for WOTWIP with Coffee. All right, everybody, remember today, get a few minutes of exercise in, whether it's just standing up, moving your feet, wiggling your butt, whatever it is, get some movement in. If you can, get a little fresh air. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.